Alright, y'all, let's get into this breakdown of Luke chapter 16. So the chapter context. The prior chapter included Jesus' teachings centered on lost things, the lost sheep, the lost coin, and then the prodigal son. Luke 16 includes several of Jesus' teachings about living in the kingdom of God compared to the worldly system, beginning and ending with parables, Luke 16:1 through Luke 17:10. Chapter 16 includes the parable of the dishonest manager. Jesus' teachings on how money reveals faith, and the story of a rich man and Lazarus, Luke 17:1 through 10, teaches about whether Christ's followers bear responsibility for other sins, lessons about faith in the parable of unworthy servants. All right, let's break this down. There we go. Luke 16:1 through 17:10 contains further teachings about the kingdom of God, particularly about the characteristics of those who follow God. The narrative starts with Jesus teaching the disciples about the role of worldly wealth and the realities of faithful stewardship. It then transitions to teaching the Pharisees how their love of money and accolades is opposed to God. The passage finishes by showing how the disciples can please God through faith and obedience, and by exposing the Pharisees' heart hardened against belief. So Luke chapter 16:1 through 8 contains the curious parable of the dishonest manager. The manager of a rich man's possessions is discovered to be incompetent. Realizing he is about to be fired, the manager works quickly. He inaugurates himself with his master's debtors by decreasing their debt in his master's ledgers. The master praises him for being so shrewd. This is not approval of the man's actions, but merely a recognition that it was a clever strategy. Luke 16:9 through 13. Jesus gives application and consequences taken from the story of the dishonest manager. The point is describing how his disciples should think about money. First, Jesus notes that eventually earthly riches will fail and they will die. Instead of clinging to temporary possessions, his disciples should share their wealth, thus earning accolades when they arrive in paradise. Next, he tells them that those who have integrity with a little to prove trustworthy with so much. If they are not faithful with worldly wealth, how can they be faithful with